Hey everybody, welcome back to Graybeard Gaming and for episode 2 of Vintage Poor Boy Survival. So, where we left off last time, I guess what we're going to be doing is cultivating down these 2 fields of cotton, and we'll see where it goes from there, but for now, let's go ahead and get started with that. Alright guys. So tell me guys, what is it that you guys love to do about Farming Simulator? I mean, is there something that brought you to this game? You know, everybody's got something that they some feature that they really love about this game. And I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. I personally love money. It's, kind of, materialistic, but no reason to do something that in a game like this, it's got to be financially oriented to some degree, because you've got to be able to support your farm, and that's the way I look at it. So, but I also initially I used to love bailing, and I still do to an extent. Maybe not like some creators. I do enjoy it a lot yet, and I can tell you right now, I do apologize because I am not much for straight lines. I just don't use the GPS features. I just AWSD everything on my keyboard, and I'm sure there's quite a few of you out there that do the same thing. But yeah, so I haven't really decided yet where we're headed on this, but I kind of like to hear from you guys if there's anybody out there watching my little videos. Is there something that you enjoy doing straight off the get-go? Do you enjoy, just animals, crops, baling? Anybody can do silage. That's pretty easy to, really get going and making silage and making money doing silage. Avoid it as much as possible. I no longer use the quick baler. That was something that I had used early on because I found it and I was like, oh, this is sweet. I got a easy fix, and I don't have to spend so much time, with the wrapping bales or a silage clamp. I just can fly through cutting the grass and then wrapping it, letting it sit and ferment. But as time wore on, it got to the point where you do that, and by month 16 or 18 you're like, okay, this playthrough's done. I mean, I want my playthroughs to last for 5+ years. Those are the meaningful ones. Those are the ones where you have really put in the time and the effort. You've made it more realistic, and you can learn so much from that. Sorry if you hear me taking deep yawns and such. been a long day. I have a delivery job that starts early in the morning, so I am going to be just doing this video and then probably heading off to bed. But, I wanted to get a video started at least and go from there. Maybe I'll upload it tomorrow. I do want to start doing an upload a day, but we'll see. Definitely we'll have to wait and see, because I am new at this. I'm not used to just sitting there talking to my computer. I might just sound like a rambling idiot, which honestly is probably no different than every day anyhow. So with that in mind, today we're going to get these fields cleaned up, cultivated, so that we can move on to the next stage, which I think what I'm going to need is, I think I'm just going to need a cedar, and I think we'll get that today. I understand that there's the no-till cedar series that you can download for the John Deere cedar and the Case International cedar, which is fine. Great mods. The modders who made them, they did a fantastic job. The only thing is I got 3 tiny fields, so I don't think I really need those. So probably what I'm going to do is go and get an inexpensive spreader. I put down some line, and once that's done, we'll go ahead and move on from the lime and whatever manner we decide on, or cedar. Maybe I will do a planter. That's not a bad idea either. I've never really gotten much into doing soybeans. I'm sorry, not soybeans, sunflowers and corn. But corn and sunflowers are fun. There's just not a whole lot of outside of productions that it's not really meant for animal feed. And I do like that aspect of doing sorghum, wheat, and I'm trying to think of it, barley for chickens. But I don't know if I want to do chickens on this playthrough. Chickens are fun. A lot of money doing chickens, but you can also get yourself into some serious issues with not having feed and then having to buy feed, because as I found, chickens, you can get a lot of them in a hurry, and if you can't support them, there's no sense in doing it. So maybe not this first season, but maybe next spring or late summer, after we've gotten our first harvest and we're able to support those livestock. That might be an option, but we're not there yet. I do have a couple harvesters in mind. As far as harvesters go, what I'm looking for is their ability to, their capacity for harvest. Some of these vintage harvesters, they don't have a whole lot of capacity, so you're constantly unloading, which I think kind of limits your progression on your playthroughs, and that's not something I'm really keen on. But I have a couple of them download it, and maybe we'll look at them today, but I'm in no rush to get one, so maybe we'll actually put that off for a later episode. Who knows? It's the fun thing about this is you don't have to commit to something right away, and that's kind of the approach I'm taking. And let's just kind of see where things are as the playthrough goes. So, well, I've got those 2 fields taken care of. One of the things I do want to look into is contracts. I'd like to see if there's a contract out there where maybe we can cultivate, because right now, as it is, I only have the cultivator and the tractor. But with that in mind, let's kind of go and take a peek and see what we can find for a seeder and spreader, so we can kind of move along to those stages. And I have downloaded a few. It always makes sense to make sure you've got a few options, because if you look at the base game, I mean, these are great options, but they're not realistic to me, because look how expensive some of these are. The base game ones, 109,000, 120,000. I mean, it's not realistic to me. So what I did look for was some that might be a bit more realistic and things that suit what I want to do. So we have this Nordston cedar, which is it's only got a 300 liter capacity and 2.5 meter working width, and I mean, it has that vintage retro appeal to it. I would probably like to stick with its stock colors, but I mean, it only has a couple of options anyways. Another option that we have is the I believe it's Rabe or Rab. I'm just going to go with a Rabe, and it's multi-drill. I do like this one. It's got the same working width. It's got the same everything as the Nordstrom, but I just kind of like it. I don't know. I mean, price-wise, they're both pretty decent. I mean, the lizards are there. This old Massey is a nice one as well, but I mean, it's got a little bit wider of a width than I feel like this tractor should be using. So I'm going to stay clear of this one, and I'm also going to stay clear of the John Deere 8350 as well as the Case 5100. I mean, they're 5.2 meters. They are direct drill, so I mean, it just doesn't really fit what we're doing here. But the John Deere B is actually a cool little drill, and it has that vintage feel. And as far as trying to stay vintage and poor boy, this would be something that, if it showed up in the used, I would buy it. I'm not going to buy it as a brand new. I think that's kind of a little bit of a cheat. There's no reason that somebody would be starting off buying this. Most farmers at the beginning, they're looking at something that's used, and like we'd seen in the previous episode, there's just not much in the used market. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make a decision between those other two, and I'm kind of leaning towards the Nordston. It's a little bit cheaper. I mean, it's 2.5 meters, which I believe is the same. Oh, I'm sorry. The Rabe is actually, you can go a little bit faster, and it's 3 meters, and it holds twice the capacity, which, you know, that's nice. And I think that would be something we can easily pull, but I mean, it's not overly heavy. You know, it's 411 kilograms, whereas this one is actually heavier. It's 505, but I feel like this has more of a vintage feel, so I think we're going to go with this one. And the whole point is to upgrade as you go. You don't start out with the 9 miles per hour drill with 3 meter width, especially when you only have about $20,000. So let's go ahead. We will go ahead and yes, we want the cover. No. Yes, we want the cover. Excuse me. And we will go ahead and, I mean, the colors, they don't really matter. I think the darker red actually looks better. As far as the blues, I like the darker blue anyways. So we'll keep it just like that. We'll go ahead and buy this one and hit OK. And we'll go pick this up from our shop. But while we're in the shop, let's go ahead and let's get our bag of seed. Alright, we're just going to need one because we don't have a whole lot of stuff to plant. Alright, and then we will need some lime. And I'm going to get 2 bags. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it to my, get this to the farm yet, but we'll go ahead and get that taken care of. And the final thing that we want to buy is we want to buy a spreader. So yeah, I mean, it just seems like the natural progression. You want to prep your fields, right? Yeah, everybody wants to prep their fields. So this one doesn't have that vintage feel. I like the price though. The price is great, but it's only for fertilizer too. This would be great, but we don't have that kind of money. I do like this one as well, has a vintage feel to it, especially when you put the extension on it with the galvanized extension. I do like that, but 18,000, we just can't afford that. What it's probably going to be is most likely this lizard or this lizard, which actually has a 2,000 capacity. I feel like this might be a little too modern for what our equipment should be doing. So I think we'll go with the AC2, which, yeah, it has a higher capacity, but I just think that yeah, we don't need stairs. I don't know why I even click on it, but I think this is kind of the way to go. Yeah, we can actually go with a higher capacity with a cover, and it adds $1,000. It's reasonable, but I just want to stick with the 2,000 capacity. That way, if we're doing lime, we are able to at least put a full bag in there. So let's go ahead and buy that as well. Alright, and I think what we'll do is I'm just gonna go ahead and you guys get to watch me fumble around with trying to back this in. Isn't that fun for you? But yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and I think we're going to go ahead and go down and retrieve that spreader and fill it with some lime. lime, come back and get these 2 fields limed and ready for our next steps, which I haven't really decided what we're gonna plant in them. Barley's a good one to plant. Oops, went down in the pit. It's never good. You never want to get stuck in the pit. But yeah, I think what we'll probably wind up getting is wheat. I'm not really keen on doing both. Wheat sells for more, which that's all fine and dandy. I don't really intend to sell our crops immediately anyways. The nice part about doing wheat is we can also get straw, and straw is important for the cattle. So, I mean, if we want to go that direction, I want to have options. So, why don't you guys go ahead and leave a comment if you're out there watching, and if there's something you think I ought to do, let me know. I'm happy to try to appease people. So, and I did leave traffic on. I don't know why. I hate cars in this game, but it is what it is. So yeah, why don't I go ahead and pick that up? We'll leave it there at the shop for this episode, and hopefully we can see you guys next time for episode 3. I'd like to try and get a few of these episodes done up ahead. That way I can easily upload something on a day where I have a really busy schedule, having all these kids and whatnot. It is nice to have that as an option. So I guess what I think we'll do is we'll leave it there for today, and thank you guys for spending your time with me, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, and see ya.